Hi, I'm Michael Killen. The Andersen collection opens at Stanford in September, and part of that collection is the Windhover Contemplative Center that features the art of California artist Nathan Oliveira. Nathan is one of the more important California artists since World War II, and I've invited Linville Smith. He is a sculptor, and also he was a friend of Nathan Oliveira, and Nathan had a profound impact on his life. And we are going to share some information about Nathan, and this gentleman is also going to share an important development he has made related to Nathan. First of all, Linville, how are you today?
Good, Michael. Good to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
He's been a great influence to me.
Okay. And we both know Nathan had a lot of important friends who were artists. Yeah. And I'd like to run a clip from an interview I conducted with Nathan shortly before he passed.
So, my friends are Diebenkorn and Parks, David Parks and Elmer Bischoff, Theophilus Brown, Paul Warner. These are Bay Area artists that I identified with as a local artist. Yes.
Okay. How or when did you first know you were going to be an artist?
I pretty much knew very early that I liked it very much as a child. I found myself drawing and coloring or whatever, I did as a kid, and continued to do this in a kind of passive way as it associated to my life and going to school and such, and always kind of excelled in this area in school and all the way through to high school. And but I never really thought that in those days, because my career goes back 60 years, it's not, I'm not a young man. So 60 years ago, I just got out of high school and was going to the California College of the Arts, which was then called the California College of Arts and Crafts. But I found myself going there as almost an accident.
How come?
Well, I was, at that time I was living in San Francisco with my parents in an apartment that was right around the corner from my high school, which was George Washington High School. And I graduated from that school. And as I said, I excelled in certain specific things. I wasn't really a very good student academically because I daydreamed a lot. I looked out the window. I wanted to avoid learning about chemistry and biology and all the rest of that. Not that I disrespected it, it just simply wasn't important to me. But I found myself, more in tune with music and art, and that's what I did.
Did your parents encourage you to go to an art school?
No.
What did they encourage you to do?
My stepfather wanted me to get a job once I got out of school and became a part of the society, and he didn't expect or anticipate very much of what I might do. There was very little advice. My mother was very good at supporting my interests, and she always had been. But anyway, I found myself graduated from the George Washington High School in 1946, and I got a job as a bookbinder's apprentice in San Francisco. And one Sunday afternoon, I was going off somewhere, so when it came out of the apartment of my family's apartment in San Francisco on 30th and Balboa, and coming down the street towards me was my high school principal, O.I. Schmalzli, and we knew each other. He was a big, imposing kind of figure, and we greeted each other because in those days, high school principals knew their students. And I had a little painting that he liked, and he had it in his office. So we knew each other pretty well. So we greeted each other, and then he wanted to know what I was doing since I got out of school. I said, well, I'm going to be a bookbinder. He said, no, nonsense. You're going to be you're an artist. You're going to go to art school. Why aren't you going to art school? I said, well, I didn't think that was possible. My family was not, in any way capable of sending me to.
It was Nathan, actually, who encouraged me and sort of inspired me to continue my aspirations to sculpt. My parents weren't against it either, but there was no chance of me going to an art school. I just kept that passion alive within me and kept sculpting. Kept in touch with Nathan as well during those times.
In a little while, we'll go into the bust, the sculpture that you made of Nathan Oliveira. But I would just like to add something about, well, first of all, have you done what Nathan has done to you and what the principal did to Nathan? Have you done that to any young person?
That's a good
yet?
point. Yeah, I have 3 daughters, and they all have an artistic flair, if you will. Music and art are both really important to me, and I like to think that I'm paying that forward. And I hope to continue that too. That's great.
Yeah, I want to share what I do. Sometimes people come over with their children, and they may be 5 years old, 6 years old, and I suddenly have a problem in one of my paintings, and I say, only a young person can solve it. I need you, just pick up the paint, and I have them paint on my painting. And I think it's a good quality that we all have. I was wondering if we could run another clip of Nathan, and we'll pick up on what he says, okay?
Family was very modest.
Portuguese immigrants?
Neither one of them were, but they were children of Portuguese immigrants. Right. My father came from Madeira, the Madeira Islands, and then my mother and my father separated when I was very young, and it was during the Depression. It was an incredible kind of experience, even as a little child. But then my mother met Oliveira, and they married, and that's how that happened, and that's how I got that name. My name really should be Nathan Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So that principal showed you something very tangible. He actually took your painting and hung it
in his office.
Right. That's more than just saying, I like your painting.
Oh, yes. No.
And then he encouraged you. He told you you're an artist.
No, you're an artist. And that really was impressed me a great deal, because up to this point, I thought this was just a talent that I had that I could do as a kind of relaxation or whatever.
It's amazing the influence someone can have on a young person's life.
Oh, yes. I think that's what teaching's about. And I know that in terms of myself as a teacher at Stanford for almost 30 years.
So I know teaching at Stanford provided you an income.
Yes.
That allowed you to do other things.
Oh, yes.
And to paint and not be driven by the need to sell.
Right.
But besides the money, what else do you get out of teaching students?
Well, the interaction with young people, and who they are and what their interests are, and how I can give them something tangible to take away with them from my classes and from the university.
Is that still something you like to do?
I do it on a different level now.
How's
I do
that?
it in the fact, well, for the most reason, because I've been retired for some 10 or more years. So I don't have contact with freshmen and such and young people coming into school or the university. But what I do have, and I value it a great deal, are those that come back to me from many years, who come back from my advice or just because we're good friends. And so I enjoy that part of that episode of mine.
So when they come back, you then, there's a characteristic in you want to share some insights, some skills, or things.
Not skills necessarily, but this time we're talking about just interests.
Just
pretty much.
We're going to have to stay for the next segment about those insights. But what insights did he give you about making sculpture?
Right. We had several conversations
right now
about the style of art. I always admired his expressionism, his abstract quality of his art. I happen to carve in a very realistic, figurative method. And I asked him one time, I said, Nathan, how do I, get that quality that you have? And he said, if you'd like to lend an interpretive or an abstract quality to your art, he said, just allow it to happen. He said, but you're exactly where you need to be right now. Keep doing what you're doing. And I would listen, and it's just an adventure. He told me to keep going, just inspired me to just keep creating, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I hope that I can, pay that forward too.
Okay, so let's see what advice he has for us. Can we play the next clip, please?
What insights might you share with them about making art?
Just the insistence on my own values for myself. That's all. That's what it's about. And somehow supporting whatever interests they have that they're dealing with.
Okay.
And I'm assuring them that the older they get, the better they're going to be. Today's art world deals with a great deal of youth. Our culture is a youth-oriented culture. It's, things are used for a while, and then they're cast aside for something new. Art isn't that way, really. It can be. That's what we're going through right now. On the other hand, it's a matter about experience, about time and living, and how long you live. That's important, and that I share with my students, or my former students, let's put it that way, because I don't teach any longer at all.
So you've been making prints, sculptures, paintings.
I'm an artist.
Okay. And are you trying to push the boundaries and create some new category of art? No.
No, I don't think so.
What are you trying to do?
Rather than looking forward in art, because I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't think any of us really knows. It's hard for me to anticipate something that I don't know or experience, or can't experience. I somehow look more backwards, back into the world of those people that were interested in art. I mean, today I can look at a cave painting from many, many thousands of years ago with the same enthusiasm that I can look at one of my own paintings or a friend's painting. I can go back into history in certain parts of history and certain individuals that somehow I felt made contributions to the world. And to me, that's important. And that's what motivates me in part. And it isn't about developing a technique or an ability to simply paint something that either I can copy, or it's really, it's really about somehow reaching into myself, into my inner self, with a third eye that looks into myself and somehow try to reveal a kind of living presence that's going to stay. And it always involves the human form. And rather than making something that is complicated visually, I don't do that much of that. I did it in a long series of prints, but that was some entirely different thing. But what I'm concerned is about restating about who we are as in humanity, and that's it.
I'm going to try to remember that one point, restating who we are in humanity. Mm-hmm. A little while ago you said you look back into yourself.
Yes, and I look back as to what has ever happened, the history.
That includes emotions, and from what I've heard here, you've come from a broken home.
Oh, yes.
And no doubt that's affected you. You were a daydreamer in school, and no doubt you felt that when they graded you or when they praised you, they certainly didn't give you praises for doing the schoolwork.
No.
And what else have I?
I mean, I was fairly intelligent, but I somehow, it was directed in another area.
And your stepfather wanted you to go out maybe and be a laborer.
Yes.
And certainly didn't see your brain and value your creative, all right? And your mother was certainly supportive.
Oh, yes.
So that's some of the things that probably, I imagine, somewhere are still in you, and I don't know.
Of course.
Okay.
You know, basically the structure of my life, but it was also filled with incredibly positive elements. I mean, like living on a orchard after my mother remarried when I was very young, and living in an orchard with my step-grandparents, and experiencing an incredible, generous life that they gave me and contributed to me, and that was important, you know. So it was, I've had both ends of the experiences of life, but they're all inside of me.
Now I need your help. You know, often I can remember things that people say and I can go back to it, but you said something that you're interested in making art about life.
Well, it's just reminded me of the things that he taught me, that he instilled in me about painting life. When I do a sculpture, let's say if I'm doing a portrait, I not only try to capture that person,
Type.
their likeness, but also something about their personality, something that's their soul. If I can, I consider that success.
So I'd like to bring up some photos of what you have made. And if you do not know this, I invited you to be part of this program with Nathan Oliveira because I recognize you have a very interesting talent. Okay, what are we looking at here?
That is me working on currently, actually there's I hope it's going to become David Park is one of Nathan's contemporaries.
So you've done Nathan now,
right.
Okay, and now you're doing David Park?
Yeah.
And you going anywhere else with this?
Yeah, I plan on doing a series of the gentlemen that were in that, what they call the California what is it, the figurative movement.
Okay.
Richard Diebenkorn, Elmer Bischoff, David Park. Yeah, I'm hoping to have the same results.
Can we see another photo, please?
That would be the Artworks Foundry in Berkeley, and on the left is Piero Musi, the owner.
Another artist. Huh?
But he's the foundry owner that cast all of Nathan's work and cast the one that on the right side of the screen is Joe Oliveira. That's Nathan's son. Yes. We'll be playing golf in 2 days.
And that's plaster? That's
the clay, and that's how I created the original in clay.
Okay. Can we see another photo?
And that's at my house. That's not really a studio, but I used one of the photos from a book that was written about Nathan. And I had to even carve the glasses from clay, so that's a little bit of a trick. I'm proud of those.
Yeah. And
there's
that's
the
him.
photo.
And I don't know, is it possible for us to put a camera on Linville's, oh, there it is.
The bronze. Yeah.
That is impressive. And you know what I see? I see people who have been collecting Nathan's art, and they're very proud of it, they love it, and I see your bust sitting next to, you know, I mean, it enriches the painting. I mean, it really, I mean, you have the man right next to him. Do we have any more photos? No more photos. Okay. So would you just summarize what you're planning to do is make a whole series of the great California artists of World War II?
Yeah, it was suggested at the Artworks Foundry, Piero's wife, Rose Musi, she said, Bob, why don't you do a series of Nathan and his contemporaries? And I thought that was a great idea. It's a tribute, keeping so nobody forgets about these people. I mean, they were very important, and I hope to have great success.
Yeah, now I think we have one more video clip. One more. And could we run it? Type. And would I be correct to say when you made monotypes with Nathan Oliveira, then the Smithsonian decided to break ground and have an art exhibition on monotypes?
Yes, it wasn't just Nathan, but Nathan was the pivotal point. And I invited other artists. I invited Frank Lebdell, I invited Keith Boyle, they were all professors at Stanford, to come and play at the press, see if they were interested. He was very interested. And when we married, the first work of art we bought was a Nathan Oliveira.
Nathan Oliveira.
And we were both interested in Nathan to the point where we purchased every single print he ever did in the 50s.
That's quite interesting. That woman is Paula Kirkeby, the owner of Smith Andersen collection. She is an icon in not just Northern California, but she's known around the world for working with the great artists and producing a whole series of prints. And I want to share that she is having an art exhibition called 2014 Current Projects at Smith Andersen Editions. This is going to be in Palo Alto, September the 12th through October the 11th. And Paula is having a reception for everyone on Saturday, September the 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. And you can go to my website, Killen.com, or her website, and everyone is invited. And she is going to be presenting a series of prints that about 6 or 7 artists, including the very important California artist Harry Cohen, made. And she's also showing a series of prints that I made as well. So I hope everyone has an opportunity and can come on over to Smith Andersen's facility on September the 12th through the 11th. And remember, this reception is Saturday, September the 13th. And I would like to now add that we just finished producing a major film that is a collaboration of art and science that addresses climate change. And in that film is the United Nations, Chris Field, who is the head of the working group number 2 of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. That is the world authority on the status and direction of climate. And also, as part of that program, was a former venture capitalist, Elton Sherwin, and he is the author of books on energy, and he is the head of the Net Carbon Zero Institute. He was also in this film. And I was also in the film, and I provided the art. And I was just one painting, and I was wondering if we could have a photo of it. This is my painting called Don Quixote Meets Climate Change, and it is only 15 feet long. And all the speakers at the event were kind to stand in front of it. And this painting, in a way, is a bit of a breakthrough. It reaches into the humanities, both literature and painting, to give the scientists another opportunity to share their message with the public. You'll see it at Killen.com. And I want to say thank you very much. And R. Linville Smith, it's been a delight for you.
Thanks, Michael.
To help enrich this program.
Thank you very much.
And I love your bust. And if we have another second or two, maybe we could take another shot of it.